Let's talk about BlueSky. You're considering it right now because you see it in the news. It had a sudden spike literally post-election where a bunch of disproportionately progressive folks went running onto the platform. 30 million monthly active users is nothing to shake a stick at. So should your nonprofit or organization start to focus more on BlueSky? Where does it fall in the hierarchy? Because it's got to all be part of a balanced diet. We only have so much time in the day to decide between the platforms. So I want to go through size, niche, whether or not it's helpful to be early, and some of the maybe drawbacks of just disproportionately focusing on BlueSky. Let's start with the size, though. Let's put this in context. So 30 million monthly active users on BlueSky, but let's break down the top ones. Like Facebook, we have 3 billion monthly active. YouTube, 2.7 billion monthly active. Instagram, 2 billion. We've got TikTok at 1.5 billion. X is at 650 million. And Truth Social, just to put it out there, is at 6.3 million. So it's bigger than Truth Social, but consider the fact that this is nicheification. I'm joking about Truth Social. You're not necessarily going there as a progressive organization because it's just not your audience. But on the other side of that, in that idea that we're only speaking to our choir, should have some weight. It's a smaller group, and also if you are just getting a bunch of people nodding along, maybe that serves your mission, but maybe it doesn't. And maybe it's a silo that you're trying to break out of. So I think that's important to note as we go toward the nicheification of platforms into this wider base, potentially as things get more polarized. It's a consideration in the ranking also, not just the size, but the type of audience that you are trying to reach and what that means. There are benefits of being early onto a platform, namely you can, and you should, secure your organization's sort of reputation, ID, and handle. That should go without saying. That is a smart thing to do. There's ways of also low maintenance management here where you can auto post to BlueSky. It is very open source, which is a positive and a negative. Get to that in a second. But you could auto post to that. So let's just say you're like, anything I post to X goes there. Anything I post to LinkedIn, I want to feed it over there. The tools to do that are pretty easy. You could do that inside of a Google spreadsheet, frankly, with a script. You could use a certain buffer I know has that as I'm writing this, but also other groups are probably going to integrate that, like Sprout Socials and Hootsuite. You can auto post there, so you can plan those out. Posting the same thing though on X and BlueSky is potentially tricky, because especially if you're trying to do @mentions, the native posting, the native hosting of video and things like that, you actually have to have the sort of app on phone or app on device to natively upload those things properly. There are other integrations as well, but also organizations' names, people's names are different, so the handles and big way of messaging is different. So I think old me would have said, yeah, no problem, just post the same thing everywhere and you're done. Maybe not. You may want to need to adjust that, at least in the types of hashtags and the people that you mention on the platform. The other thing on the negative side of open source is the fact that everything you post on that platform is being ripped and gripped by LLM training models. What does that mean? Actual entire databases of BlueSky, including your user handle and information about that, is being fed into new training sets that are ripping that content, because frankly, all of these LLMs are hungry for those training parameters to build on for their models and grabbing that content in. Maybe that's fine, maybe it's not. It's it's something I think about a lot when I'm trying to curate the future versions of my brand's identity in the eyes of an LLM. So that's another big consideration. And also, there's no advertising on the platform. Maybe you consider that a positive, maybe a negative, but there's no technical advertising. So hopefully that helps. We talked about the size considerations, the niche considerations, the open source pros and cons of where it should be in your balanced diet for a social media platform. I wouldn't say for anyone put it at the top, but it is important to keep an eye on it. Also, the rate of growth matters, because sometimes if you have a sudden influx of users into a platform, it doesn't necessarily lead toward longevity in that sense. So that is also sort of a risk in my mind. Does it burn too brightly, too quickly, and then cliff off? Hopefully that helped you think about the way we're considering BlueSky for the organizations we work with at Whole Whales.